You're not answering. Should we give them the weapons to win the war?
Fox News host Sean Hannity clashed with former Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Check this out.
You're not answering. Should we give them the weapons to win the war? If they're doing a great job, everybody acknowledges that. Should we give them all, and Europe too, give them the weapons if they're willing to fight for their country?
They can't win this war, Sean. This is the real world that we live in. It is not, it's not strategically possible to think that Ukraine is going to beat Russia. If you look at it, and then
so
it
what
also
you're
is the
saying
question,
is
what does winning
you
look
fear
like?
Vladimir
What does winning
Putin.
look like?
You're saying you fear Vladimir Putin would use a nuke. If he uses a nuke, the radiation fallout will impact NATO countries. That triggers Article 5. Do you believe in Article 5 of the NATO agreement?
I think the most responsible thing that our leaders, the United States, leaders of NATO, Ukraine, and Russia need to do right now is look at what the reality is that we are facing on the ground and the reality that the world is facing, and come together to be able to negotiate an outcome to this.
Okay, Putin doesn't want to negotiate. Clearly doesn't want to negotiate. There's been many attempts at negotiation. So when you see images of dead women and children,
I'm not aware
and when you see neighborhoods
sitting down
blown
with
out,
Putin yet.
hang on, you do not think we should provide them the weapons to defend themselves? I just want to know yes or no.
You're missing my point here, Sean, which is we've got to know what we're trying to accomplish, which is an end to this war. It is cruel to make the Ukrainian people believe that somehow they are going to win this war by prolonging it. And that's what you're talking about here. It would prolong this war, prolong the suffering, and end up causing more lives lost in the end.
If Vladimir Putin wanted to negotiate, he would have done it a long time ago. He's not willing to. And if he wants to use chemical, biological, or nuclear weapons, he's got to know that his entire country is going to be blown off the face of the earth. I pray to God we never get to that point, but that's always been a threat.
All right. Now, while this was not the most substantive conversation, hell of a lot more substance here than what you see in the majority of Fox News coverage, especially in prime time. So here you have Sean Hannity. Unlike Tucker, Sean actually is willing to debate a conservative guest. So I thought this was a very interesting result here. Tulsi, now, don't let her former, job title fool you. Tulsi Gabbard is not a Democrat. She is she could be, but she is a conservative Democrat. She is, and has become even more conservative since leaving Congress. This is somebody who, as you see here, is putting the interests of Russia over Ukraine. Now, you may say, well, but she's fighting. She wants to see negotiation. She wants to see a peace deal. Oh, yeah, good. We all want to see that. Why is she saying that Ukrainians can't defend themselves? I mean, that's the debate that she's having here. She's unwilling to acknowledge that Ukrainians should be allowed to defend themselves in lieu of an agreement to end this invasion. Like, how are Ukrainian civilians defending themselves? How is that going to hurt a negotiation? If anything, it will help it. Because that way you don't have Russia just dominating Ukraine. If they're dominating the country, why are they going to form some kind of agreement? If Ukraine's actually fighting back and defending themselves, and in some cases they're very successful at doing so, why are you against that? So look, I don't pretend to know what Tulsi's intentions are here because I have no idea. But you see, there's other ways that she kind of gives away who she's fighting for here, because in another answer she says, quote, "I'm not aware of Zelensky sitting down with Putin yet." Why is it not, I'm not aware of Putin sitting down with Zelensky yet? You're putting it on Zelensky to sit down with Putin. You're putting it on the guy being invaded to sit down with the invader, as opposed to the other way around. Like, again, I don't know what her intentions are, but it's really weird to try and claim that Ukrainians defending themselves is somehow going to hurt negotiations with Russia. It's weird, that's for sure. And on the points that Sean Hannity was making, I'm not sure where he stands on a no-fly zone. He appears to think that Putin is not willing to use nukes. I'm not that confident. A lot of people didn't think that Putin would invade Ukraine because it was not going to benefit him or Russia, as it hasn't. And he did it anyways. It was an irrational decision that he made. Who's to say he won't be irrational again? So I don't trust him not using nukes, even if it means, destroying his own country. I don't. Yeah, I don't see Putin losing easily. So unless that's why there has to be an agreement here in place to properly end this. Because if you leave it up to Russia to go as far as they want into this, I mean, I don't see them stopping. But anyways, it was weird. Weird to see two conservatives debating on Fox News and have somewhat, some substance involved there. But at the very least, look, this viewership doesn't get a lot of this, doesn't get a lot of differing opinions on issues. I think for them, for the older Fox News viewer that is just glued to the television, I think this was likely a lot more substance than they are used to.